Hey, what's up? It's your favorite lawyer. Alrighty, so just kind of been looking and reading the comments and looking at emails and taking a good advice from people on these shows. So they're going to be much shorter now. Okay? Just want to let you know. Don't forget, guys, this legal advice is based off of only what I know. What I know is limited because I'm reading an email that you all have sent me, etc. So it's not as if, I, have all of the facts. Whenever there's a case that an attorney has, they usually have all the facts, okay? On both sides. But I'm going to do the best I can with what you tell me. All right? Then you also know that you guys can email me, booker@bookerlawfirm.com, put YouTube show in the subject heading, and shoot it at me, and I will respond on the show. Without further ado, let's get it cracker lacking. Okay? Okay. Here goes a child custody question. Okay? And my internet is out, so I'm on over here reading them. Sorry. Okay, so we just moved from Texas from Illinois this month. I would like to know, what are my options for divorce regarding custody? My husband also moved with us, so now we're all in the same household. Well, whenever you move and whenever there is a court has to look and see whether it has what we call jurisdiction. So in Texas, you have to be a domiciliary, meaning you have to have the intent to remain and live in Texas for more than 90 days, and you have to be a resident for 6 months before you can file a divorce here. If you want to file a divorce, you can file one, but right now, depending on how long you've been here, jurisdiction for the meantime is going to be in Illinois. So you could start your divorce there if you wanted to, get the custody battle going. But see, since everybody's down here, you should just wait until jurisdiction picks up here. Wait the 6 months and file down here. That's the easiest way to do things. Okay. We'll move on to the next. Now that's well, she probably says, this is my time to break and run with the new start. That makes sense. Okay. What can I do if I was put on a birth certificate without my consent? Oh, must be a parent. Come to find out, the baby isn't mine. She's now 23 years old. Paid child support up until she was maybe 19 or 20. What can I do now, or do I just leave it alone? Please help me. Sir, the reason that the mother or somebody was able to put you on that birth certificate without your consent was they didn't need your consent because they had a court order. So you need consent or court order to add a parent to a birth certificate. There's no other way you can put somebody on a birth certificate. Birth certificates are run by the Vital Statistics Unit, which is a government entity, and they don't listen to regular people. Okay? They are only going to take sworn statements from the people who allege that they're the parents using acknowledgments of paternity, or they're going to look at the court. And if the court orders you to be the parent, then that mom can go and slide you on the birth certificate, and that's it. Come to find out the child isn't yours. Sir, why didn't you come to court? At some point, you were notified of court. And for whatever reason, you did not show up. I don't want to hear what it was, because people have so many reasons. I was in Michigan, and my leg broken. I couldn't get back for court. People have all these reasons as to why they don't show up for court. But when you don't show up for court, boo, you are defaulted, meaning they will move forward with court with or without you. And I always tell people, when you get court papers, you show up. If you don't show up, they're going to move on without you. And moving on without you may very well mean that something that you don't want to happen can occur. Sir, had you showed up, you could have requested a DNA test and been done. Okay? You never asked for a DNA test. You never got a DNA test because you never came to court. So they didn't need your consent to put you on that birth certificate. Okay? Now, you have already paid child support all this time. What are you going to do about it? I mean, what can you do? Nothing. There was a valid court order that said that you're the father of the child. You may not be the biological father, but you are the adjudicated father. That's why you're on that birth certificate. And guys, you need to understand, again, when someone sues you, especially when they say you're the daddy of a child, you show up at court. If you are in jail, you write a letter. I am in jail, but I want a DNA test. You do whatever you need to do so that you can preserve error for yourself. Because if something pops off, you're going to be on child support. Okay? And that's just the way it goes. And then it's nothing you can really do once you're on it. You're stuck like Chuck. Okay? Now there are ways that there are certain men who, they have the way to come back on children that they later on discover are not theirs. But it's very slim and restricted reasons and ways that a court will let you come back. Here in Texas, the mother has to have committed fraud, essentially. Either you were married to her, you didn't know she cheated, you had no reason to know that this was not your child, and or you were with this woman, you all conceived this child in a union, you all were together all the time, you had no thought process to know that this child could never be yours. Mother lied and told you that the child was yours and could not be anyone else's, and then you later found out the child was not yours. So these are very slim, and as soon as you find out, you have to come to court. You don't have time to waste and all these other things, okay? So, sir, you're stuck. Leave it alone. Okay? I'm sorry. You should have went to court. That's the court. I'm going to bring you to the court of my public opinion. Why get mad about what happens in court when you're not there? I can't stand people that get pissed off about court orders and they were not present. If you wanted to have a dog in the fight, you should have showed up to the fight. Next case, because I cannot. All right. Can I get my husband's pension and 401k in a divorce? I've been married to my husband for 7 years. I'm on SSDI, Social Security Disability. If I divorce my husband, what can I get? Pension, 401k, alimony. My husband owns the home before we got married. Well, then you're not going to get that home. You get half of whatever the community property is, ma'am, whatever that may be. If that includes 401ks and pensions, yes, you are entitled to half. You're not entitled to the house because you guys were not together when this house was bought. He already had it before he had you. But you can take separate property and turn it into community property. If he took a mortgage out on that home while you guys were married, if you made so many repairs to that home that increased the value of that home, or you made additions to the home that increased the value of the home, then that's community property, the increase in value. And the whole home can become community property if it's not in good shape and it's fixed up and you put so much money in it that it then changes the characterization of the property from separate property to community property, because you can't use community property funds on a separate property and then leave it separate property. It doesn't work that way. They've either got to give you your money back, buy you out, or something. So if none of these things happen with your case, ma'am, then you're just going to ask for 50% of everything. You just file your petition with the court. You make sure that he has to do an inventory and appraisement that is sworn, and you make sure that you get half of everything. And a lot of the times attorneys like to add clauses in that say if somebody does not divulge property or otherwise on that sworn inventory and appraisement that is filed with the court, then you get it at 100% for them trying to hide it from you. That's always a good thing to do. So that's kind of what you need to do, ma'am. You probably want to just, let it go, because we all know, if a relationship is not good, if it's not working out, you do want to let things go. You don't want to bring, sadness, depression, evil your way, because you're drumming it up. So you want to make sure that you're living a fruitful life. And if this relationship is not fruitful, yes ma'am, you got to get it over with and get it done. And yes ma'am, you are entitled to half a 401k of retirement of whatever he has for the time that you all were married. Okay? And that's true because you're writing me from Texas. Texas is a community property state, and that's just the way that it goes, honey. People don't like it, they shouldn't get married, because you women, ma'am. And you asked me about alimony. Let me hit on that. It depends on how long you were married to this gentleman, and it depends on how you all were during the marriage. A lot of the times women just want to go try to get alimony. Alimony is not something that you're just entitled to and you just get because you were married. First of all, you have to be married to people a certain number of years to get alimony. Okay? Second of all, in order for you to get alimony, you have to be able to not have been able to subsist on your own in the marriage. Meaning, you were a housewife, you lived, with a millionaire, but you were a teacher, things like that. Then you're entitled to alimony, because in order for you to keep the standard of living that you had when you were married, he's got to help you out. and you have forsaken or foregone or forwent certain things that you could have done, or certain money you could have made, or a certain lifestyle to be with this person. And so they, you're acclimated to those things, and you're entitled to them in a divorce. And that's how alimony is done. And alimony, guys, is not something all the time that's awarded for these long periods of time. Sometimes alimony is only 3 years, sometimes 4 years. It depends on what state you're in, but alimony is not forever. Okay. And then also, in addition to that, there's clauses that can be put on alimony that when you get married again, they don't have to pay it anymore. Okay? When you move on, they no longer have to support you, because now you got a new man that has to support you. Okay? So, I'm going to start keeping things short and sweet. Okay? I'm glad you all came to the court of my public opinion. I'm glad you all sent me some questions that I could answer. These were about divorces, relationships, family law, which I love. So, I love to answer those questions for you guys. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, okay, to my channel. Make sure you hit the notifications button so that you're able to know anytime that I upload anything, okay? And y'all have a very fruitful evening and day. I don't know why I said evening before day, but I did. I'm sorry. I ain't mean to do that. Day and evening. Okay? Holla back. Y'all have a good one. It's your favorite attorney. Until next time, court stands in recess.